You do your research, you find out that there's no paperwork on Big Meech. So if you go do your research, you find out that there's no paperwork on Big Meech. That's why you hadn't seen no paperwork. It's all hearsay.
You know what's crazy? People are always in my fucking business, worried about what I'm doing, what Floyd is doing, what Floyd ain't doing, what I do got, what I don't got. Just know, I'm gonna stay in my lane, I ain't gonna fuck with nobody, and I don't want nobody fucking with me. If I go on vacation, my fault.
Welcome back to StarHush, where the tea is always hot and the drama never stops. So, Floyd Mayweather just sent a serious message to Charleston White, basically telling him to keep his mouth shut about this whole Big Meech situation unless he wants some real problems. But if you know anything about Charleston White, you already know he's not the type to back down. The man has made a career out of talking reckless, and no amount of pressure, not even from one of the richest boxers alive, is gonna make him change his stance. Now here's where things get spicy. Ever since getting out of jail, Charleston has been on a non-stop media run, doing interview after interview, dropping all kinds of controversial takes. And when the Big Meech and 50 Cent situation came up, oh, he did not hold back. According to Charleston, 50 Cent had every right to cut Big Meech off because both Meech and his son, Lil Meech, turned around and got cozy with his biggest rivals. And let's be real, loyalty is everything in this game. Charleston said plain and simple, you can't bite the hand that fed you and expect to keep eating. And guess who was one of those enemies that Big Meech aligned himself with? Floyd Mayweather. And let's just say Floyd was not happy about Charleston speaking on his name. Word on the street is Floyd is not the type to let things slide. And if he ever crosses paths with Charleston, it's gonna be a problem. And listen, we all know Floyd isn't out here in street beefs. His business is boxing, money, and keeping his billion-dollar empire intact. But when it comes to his name getting dragged into mess, he will step in and let people know he's not to be played with. But here's where the real question comes in. Is Floyd actually trying to help Big Meech rebuild his legacy and get back on his feet? Or is he just making power moves to get under 50 Cent's skin and remind him who really holds weight in the industry? One thing's for sure, this drama is just heating up and we're here for every messy detail.
Looking at it from 50 position. I go get your son. And at the time when I meet your son, he's not making the best decisions in life. You know, they say the was strung out on them perks. And they like to pop them perks. 50 take him somewhat, I wouldn't say clean him up, but spend 2 years in acting classes that 50 paid for. It was hard finding somebody to play the role of Big Meech, so we picked your son. 50, according to 50, he's put over $5 million into the pockets of Lil Meech and the family's, you know, financial, over $5 million. He's helped them make. Nigga blew your son up, and we bring you back to life. Prior to the BMF series, Big Meech was buried alive. Wasn't nobody saying his name. Jeezy wasn't really shouting him out no more. He was buried alive. So 50 bring life back to him, put his son in a position, turn his son into a millionaire, and he actually turned out to be a pretty good actor. You come home, I'm gonna put you in a better position. For you to go fuck Rick Ross, that's a slap in the face.
This Big Meech situation is spinning out of control, and it's dragging in some of the biggest names in the game. Floyd Mayweather and Charleston White are now right in the middle of the mess. Now, we already know Charleston White loves to stir the pot, but this time, he really shook things up when he decided to break his silence on the ongoing war between Big Meech, Lil Meech, and 50 Cent. And let's just say, his take was not what people expected. Charleston didn't hold back when he spoke on the snitching rumors, calling out those who keep throwing accusations around without proof. He made it clear that while a lot of people are out here saying Big Meech flipped on his own people, he personally hasn't seen any paperwork backing up those claims. And in Charleston's world, if there's no paperwork, it didn't happen. And if that wasn't enough to ruffle feathers, Charleston also took aim at 50 Cent's version of events, saying people need to do their own research before repeating things they see online. Specifically, he addressed the rumors that Big Meech used Tammy Cowens to take down his own associate, Cuffy. He straight up said that too many people are just running with the narrative without knowing the real facts. But here's the thing, while Charleston was trying to clear Big Meech's name, he also made one thing clear. 50 Cent was not wrong for cutting him off. In his opinion, loyalty matters more than anything. And if Big Meech and Lil Meech were out here cozying up to 50's enemies, then they deserved whatever came their way. And guess who didn't like that take at all? Floyd Mayweather. The moment Charleston's interview dropped, Floyd made it known that if he ever runs into him, things could get real ugly.
This be a perfect example on you gotta be very careful on who you bring in and who you put on. That's Little Meech right there. And if you don't know, he's the son of Big Meech. And if you don't know who that is, well, Big Meech was one of the biggest drug dealers in Detroit, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, long story short, he went in jail. He came out of jail and he started linking up with 50 Cent's ops. Now, bear in mind, 50 Cent made BMF and put Little Meech on BMF without any acting skill.
Charleston White did not hold back in his latest rant, and this time he took a strong stance in favor of 50 Cent while completely putting Big Meech and his son on blast. He made it crystal clear that in his opinion, 50 had every right to be furious over this whole situation. Why? Because when nobody else was stepping up for Lil Meech, not even Rick Ross, 50 was the one who had his back, and not just in words but with real action. Charleston broke it down, saying that 50 Cent did more for Lil Meech than his own father did while he was behind bars. He cleaned him up, taught him how to move in the industry, sent him to acting school on his own dime, and then put him in a role that made him millions of dollars. And let's be real, that role on BMF turned Lil Meech into a star overnight. So after all that work, after 50 built this kid from the ground up, imagine how disrespectful it must have felt when Lil Meech turned around and got cozy with 50's biggest enemies. Charleston said that anybody in 50's position would be mad if they poured that much effort into someone, only to watch them run off to the ops the second they got a little taste of power. And it gets even worse, because not only did Lil Meech betray 50, but Big Meech himself made it even worse by aligning with Rick Ross. Charleston straight up called Big Meech linking up with Ross a slap in the face, the ultimate act of disloyalty. And in Charleston's mind, that betrayal came with consequences. He said that both Big Meech and his son deserve whatever 50 decides to throw their way as payback. With Charleston fully backing 50 Cent, it's only making the situation messier. The lines are being drawn, and it's looking like Big Meech is running out of people willing to defend him.
You do your research, you find out that there's no paperwork on Big Meech. So if you go do your research, you find out that there's no paperwork on Big Meech. That's why you hadn't seen no paperwork. It's all hearsay. Somebody saying he told, or somebody saying he used Tammy Cowens to set up Cuffy. Well, when you do your research and you look at the court documents that's on Big Meech, you see that Tammy Cowens took the stand and said that she did this on her own accord without Big Meech's knowledge.
Now, if you've been following this whole Big Meech versus 50 Cent drama, you already know that everything spiraled out of control the moment Big Meech linked up with Rick Ross, all for some quick cash after he got out of jail. But here's the real kicker. None of this would have even happened if Lil Meech hadn't blown through all the money that 50 put in his pocket when they were working together. See, 50 Cent felt completely disrespected when he saw Big Meech go behind his back to collaborate with Rick Ross, and that's what led to 50 calling Meech out and exposing him. He straight up accused him of being a rat, claiming he was out here cutting deals behind the scenes to protect himself while letting others take the fall. And Lil Meech, he wasn't about to let 50 Cent drag his father without speaking up, so he hit up 50 in the DMs trying to explain the situation. But his response only made things worse. According to the messages that 50 later exposed, Lil Meech begged 50 to see things from his perspective. He tried to justify why his father linked up with Ross, saying, "They just told me you unfollowed me off Instagram, and now you managing Skilla Baby when I brought him around you first, when you didn't even have a clue who he was." He continued, "Now you mad at me when I would take the shirt off my back for you? I can't believe this, man. You act as if I'm your enemy. I've only shown you love and loyalty. I'm human. I go through my own issues, but I never switched up on you. F Ross. But he gave my dad some bread so he can afford to pay his bills until our next season starts. This internet stuff is throwing me off, man. You know me in real life." Sounds like Lil Meech was trying to make peace, right? Like he was looking for a way to smooth things over and get back in 50's good graces. But guess what? 50 wasn't buying it. Instead of accepting the apology, he went for the kill, straight up canceling the BMF series and cutting off Lil Meech's income for good. This move had the internet divided. Some people thought Lil Meech was right to apologize, while others felt like he should have stood his ground and defended his father, no matter what. Now, you can't deny that 50 Cent cutting off Lil Meech is a major blow to his earnings, because let's be real, 50 was the one who put him on. Before the BMF series, Lil Meech was just Big Meech's son. But 50 gave him a career, a name, and a paycheck, and now all of that is gone. You'd think that after messing up this bad, Big Meech and Lil Meech would be trying to patch things up with 50. At the very least, set up a conversation to see if there was any way to salvage the BMF series. But nope. Instead of making peace, they went and drew the battle lines even deeper by hanging out with more of the 50's biggest enemies. And it's not just some casual link up either. Lil Meech has been seen chilling with Floyd Mayweather multiple times, which is a major slap in the face to 50 Cent. See, Big Meech and Lil Meech have been posting non-stop about their time, kicking it with Floyd Mayweather and Rick Ross. And at this point, it's clear they're doing it to get under 50's skin. Lil Meech even dropped a whole photo dump of himself, Floyd, and Ross bowling it up at the Lucky Strike bowling alley in Miami. And guess what? His caption read, "Real power." Now tell me that's not a direct jab at 50 Cent. But that wasn't even the worst part, because just a few days later, Lil Meech posted another set of photos, this time with his father, Big Meech, and Floyd Mayweather, chilling at some undisclosed location. And if that still wasn't loud enough, he went all the way with it, sharing a video of himself courtside at a Lakers game with Floyd, laughing it up like they were best friends. With everything that's been going down between 50 Cent and the Meech family, nobody is buying that these link-ups were just random. This was 100% intentional, a petty jab at 50 Cent, and he definitely took notice. Now, if you know anything about hip-hop beefs, you know that 50 Cent and Rick Ross have been sworn enemies for years. This isn't some new feud. It's been war between them for over a decade. And there's no way Lil Meech didn't know what he was doing by aligning himself with Ross. Their beef first popped off after Rick Ross claimed that 50 gave him a dirty look backstage at an event, and from that point on, it was all-out war. Since then, they've dissed each other in songs, interviews, and social media, and 50 has never missed an opportunity to remind the world about Ross's past as a correctional officer. Let's not forget that in a 2015 interview with Tim Westwood, 50 straight up called Rick Ross a fraud, saying, "He's just playing a character. He talks tough in his raps, but we all know who he really is. He's still Officer Ricky." And now, the Meech family is aligning themselves with that same enemy? Oh, 50 Cent is definitely gonna have something to say about this one.
What about you and Rick Ross?
That is desperation at the points that you hear things from him at this point. You know, because if you're looking for someone, it ain't that hard to find me. You know, I'm around. And I'm not used to having an altercation with law enforcement. I'm just not used to saying I'm gonna do something to a correctional officer or to a police officer or anyone who's been under oath that's gonna say with no problem everything that you've said and everything that's happened immediately after, like, you know.
50 Cent has never held back when it comes to throwing shots at Rick Ross, and this time is no different. He's been calling Ross irrelevant for years, making it crystal clear that he doesn't respect his career at all. And honestly, Ross feels the same way about 50. He hates him just as much, if not more. In his eyes, 50 is nothing but a loudmouth bully, always stirring the pot just to stay relevant.
You took a picture with Rick Ross. You like a hoe. Put your back against the wall and just slide down. You already know, car show going down June 7th. Get online right now, get your tickets right now. But for the hustlers, I want y'all to understand you gotta stop making business personal. Get your money. You don't know these don't know you. And for anybody going against Ricky Rose, let me have this. I've been putting my foot up you since for the last 15 years. Everything you touch crumble. Why you think Rose on top? We don't take this shit.
Now, with these two, the beef makes sense. They've been throwing jabs for years, so nobody is shocked that it's still going. But when it comes to Floyd Mayweather, that's where things get real messy. Because believe it or not, there was a time when Floyd and 50 were inseparable. Yeah, you heard that right. There was a time when Floyd and 50 Cent were as close as brothers, rolling deep, hitting events together, and even gracing the cover of XXL magazine side by side, showing the world they were a solid team. But that all changed, and fast. And the reason? Floyd's legal troubles. See, back in 2012, Floyd got convicted on domestic charges and was sent to jail for a few months. And during that time, he handed the reins over to 50, trusting him to keep his businesses running. That included TMT, the Money Team boxing promotion, and Mayweather Promotions, two companies that Floyd built his brand on. Now, at first, 50 was all in. He stepped up, got things in order, and thought he was just doing his part to help out his so-called best friend. But the deeper he got, the more he realized that Floyd's entire business structure was a disaster. And when I say disaster, I mean there was nothing in place. These weren't legit companies. They weren't even properly registered businesses. Floyd had been running everything on vibes, and 50 had to start from scratch just to keep things from crumbling. And let's talk numbers, because this wasn't some small-time favor. 50 put up a whole $1 million of his own money to fix Floyd's financial mess and get things running the way they should have been from the jump. Now you'd think Floyd would be grateful for that, right? Wrong. The moment Floyd got out of jail, he flipped the script. Instead of thanking 50 for keeping things together, he turned against him. He refused to pay back the $1 million 50 invested, started acting brand new, and even accused 50 of trying to steal his company while he was locked up. Now tell me, how does that make sense? To make things even more embarrassing, while Floyd was out here treating 50 like the enemy, 50 and his team were still running a whole "let's get Floyd back in pocket" campaign, which, let's be real, was just a fancy way of saying they were trying to raise money for him. And if that sounds familiar, it should, because it's exactly the type of thing Rick Ross was trying to do for Big Meech. So now, it's all coming full circle.
As he was actually going in to jail, he asked me to help him with Mayweather promotion.
Right.
Then as he actually got in and I took a look, I realized there is no Mayweather promotion. There's no LLC, there's no seal, it's not incorporated. It's just
the name.
Yeah,
that comes out people's mouth.
Right. See, technically, Floyd is a Golden Boy fighter. You see what I'm saying? He fights on every Golden Boy card. They do all the footwork on
like
every
the
show.
negotiations and the imprint, the paperwork.
They built the whole show. So when he says helping with Mayweather Promotions and it's not there, I go, okay, I know what he means. He wants me to
get it together.
Put it together for him. So I do TMT Promotions. I get it all the way together. Sign the actual fighters. We had acquisition of Gamboa. It's like I had to negotiate a release. It was 1.2 million. Andre Durrell, IBF champion Billy Dibb, WBA champion Celestino Calabero. So we brought them over. I brought him over while Floyd was incarcerated.
Yeah.
Then he comes home. There's the "Let's Get Floyd Back in the Pocket" campaign that goes on, where it's $300,000 chains being bought, buying new Lamborghini and all these new things, and I'm sitting there going, yo, when you gonna give me the money?
Because you'd already invested.
Right, like when you gonna give me your half of the money back. But I ain't trying to press him because he just got out of jail.
Right.
So it's like, let him cool his heels before you.
Was that in the millions?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you sitting there big, and I'm like, yo, so when, but see, the fighters are an asset in themselves. They are that talent, regardlessly. Right. You know, so I'm looking at him going, so there ain't no pressure there, but I'm saying, when is he gonna say he wants to, you know, to give me the other half of it? Well, I gotta ask you for it.
Right.
And then when he...
Are we talking over $2 million?
It's about that.
Oh, okay.
At that point, it was, you know, invested in.
All right.
So look, he goes, when he finally does bring up the actual situation, he acted like he didn't know anything. Like, I didn't tell y'all to do that. I didn't tell you to do that.
Oh, man.
And I'm looking at him, and he looked in my face and he tell me to do that.
If there's one thing everybody knows about 50 Cent, it's that he does not tolerate disloyalty. So when Floyd Mayweather started throwing dirt on his name, 50 was not about to let it slide. But here's where things get crazy. When 50 clapped back, he somehow ended up looking like the villain. Floyd wasn't just talking reckless, he was hitting below the belt, literally. He went on a full-blown smear campaign calling 50 a washed-up rapper, claiming he had a failed music career, and even dubbing him a male boxing groupie. Like, imagine getting roasted by a dude who can barely string a full sentence together. At first, Floyd and 50 tried to convince people that their feud was just for publicity, even telling the media that they had reconciled and were back to being cool. Big lie. Because it wasn't long before things got even worse. And when I say worse, I mean all the way messy. This wasn't just rap beef or friendly jabs. These two were airing each other's deepest, darkest secrets like it was a Netflix docu-series. Floyd hit first. He started clowning 50's broken relationship with his son, Marquise, and y'all already know that's a sore spot for 50's. Floyd was really trying to twist the knife, bringing up how Marquise had publicly disowned his father, calling him out for being a terrible dad. But 50, oh, he was not going out like that. He came for Floyd's whole existence. He dragged Floyd for allegedly sleeping with his best friend's woman, exposing how messy Floyd's personal life really was.
I look at the computer say, Floyd said, Nelly 50. I'm like, what did he say me for? Nelly your first baby mama, Melissa, then took your fiance, say that nigga.
And just when you thought 50 would let it go, he did what only 50 could do. He went straight for the jugular. He accused Floyd of being involved in one of the most shocking tragedies in Hollywood, the tragic case of Earl Hayes and his wife, Stephanie Mosley. 50 put Floyd on blast, saying, "Tell everybody why you was on FaceTime when he did what he did, because he was confronting you about messing with his wife." Boom. If that wasn't enough, 50 went even further. He decided to humiliate Floyd in front of the whole world by challenging him to read a page from a Harry Potter book, live. And to make it even more disrespectful, he promised to donate $750,000 to any charity of Floyd's choice if he could read the page without struggling.
This is a special ASLELS challenge for you, Floyd. If you can read one full page of a Harry Potter book, I'll give $750,000 to whatever charitable organization you want to. The bucket of ice, man.
Floyd Mayweather thought posting his bank account would end the drama, but guess what? It only made things worse. See, when 50 Cent humiliated Floyd by challenging him to read a page from a book, Floyd tried to clap back the only way he knew how, by flexing his money. He posted pictures of checks totaling over $72 million, basically telling 50, "You can talk, but you can't out-earn me." But here's the thing, that didn't erase the illiterate allegations. Floyd might have a mountain of cash, but the internet was never gonna let go of those reading struggles. And y'all already know 50 kept the pressure on. So what did Floyd do? He pulled a classic Floyd Mayweather move. He challenged 50 to a boxing match. If you got all this energy online, let's settle it in the ring. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. See, 50 Cent might be petty, but he's not stupid. He knows going toe-to-toe with a professional boxer is a setup for failure. So despite rumors flying that the fight was gonna happen in 2014, it never did. But Floyd wasn't done being messy. Fast forward to 2018, and he pulled one of his pettiest stunts yet. Instead of going head-to-head with 50, Floyd dragged another one of 50's enemies into the mix, Tia Maria. Y'all remember her, the singer who was suing 50 for revenge corn. You know what that means. And what did Floyd do? He invited her to perform at his nightclub on purpose to poke at 50. And at that moment, any scraps of friendship left between them were dead and buried. Floyd then dropped a bombshell open letter on Instagram, torching 50 Cent for filth. He called 50 a snitch, clowned him for having a failed music career, mocked him for being a bitter, jealous man who couldn't even have a decent relationship with his own son. It was a full-on attack, and at that point there was no coming back. So can you imagine how 50 felt when he saw Big Meech and Lil Meech hanging out with Floyd? Blood boiling. Y'all already know 50 does not forget a betrayal. So when Lil Meech and Big Meech started cozying up to Floyd and Rick Ross, 50 went straight to work. He fired back immediately. First, he posted a video of Lil Meech talking to Rick Ross and mocked the whole situation by joking that they were planning for Rick Ross to send Big Meech some free chicken wings from his fast food chain. But it didn't stop there. 50 then went straight for Lil Meech's acting skills. He took a moment to celebrate Michael Rainey Jr., the actor from Power Book 2, Ghost, who just won an ACP award for his performance. And in classic 50 Cent fashion, he used it as an opportunity to clown Lil Meech. He basically told the world that Lil Meech could never compare, letting everyone know that if 50 had to choose, his loyalty was with Rainey, not Meech. And then he pulled his pettiest move yet. He shared an AI-edited video making it look like Lil Meech was begging 50 to take him back. I tried to show Lil Meech the good life, 50 wrote, but he just wanted to follow in his dad's footsteps. Messy as ever.
Hold up! Keep going! Hold on, we gonna get this work. I tried to give him the large picture. Yo, Pops wasn't no.
On the surface, some folks are confused about why 50 is going so hard at Lil Meech. After all, he wasn't the one who allegedly cooperated with the feds. But now, 50 has finally spoken up. And let's just say, he's holding nothing back. See, after Boozy called him out, saying 50 was misdirecting his anger at Lil Meech, 50 wasted no time setting the record straight. His response? I did more for Meech than anyone in his life, Boozy. He wasn't just a mentor, he was a lifeline. And when Meech got locked up, I was the first person he called. Not only that, 50 claims he bailed him out every single time. So imagine 50's reaction when he saw Lil Meech laughing at his dad's posts after everything he had done for him. That was the moment 50 knew he had a snake in his camp. I saw him laughing at his pop's post, 50 wrote. I said, oh, he belongs with him, a snake too. Y'all already know 50 doesn't play about loyalty, and when he feels disrespected, he cuts you off for good. But wait, it gets even messier. 50 revealed another layer to this story that nobody saw coming. Not only did he put Lil Meech in acting school, teach him how to manage his money, and give him a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but he also had to step in when Meech started spiraling. See, according to 50, Lil Meech was out here making reckless choices that could have ruined his entire career. I had to send Meech to rehab, 50 admitted. Wait, what? Yeah, you read that right. Apparently, it all started when power actor Russell Hornsby peeped that Meech was high on set, so high that he started throwing up during a weapons test. 50 found out and immediately got involved. But it didn't stop there. The next bombshell, Lil Meech was allegedly keeping whippets in his truck. Now, for those who don't know, whippets are small nitrous oxide canisters used for quick highs. 50 had no clue what they were at first, but once he realized, he was not having it. I said, what the hell is whippets? He wrote. So not only did 50 have to clean up Lil Meech's mess behind the scenes, but he also had to get him straight before his whole career crashed. And after all that, Lil Meech turned around and started flexing with 50's enemies. At this point, the disrespect was through the roof. Hanging with Rick Ross, posing up with Floyd Mayweather, publicly linking with people who hate 50. That's why 50 completely washed his hands of him. And Charleston White agrees. According to Charleston, Big Meech's biggest mistake wasn't even working with Rick Ross. It was putting it all over social media. Posting those photos? That was his real downfall. See, Meech could have handled this situation privately, but instead, he put it on display for the whole world to see. And now, the bridges are burned, and 50 is letting karma do the rest.
Meech's biggest mistake was getting on camera with Rick Ross, running to the internet. Rick Ross was wrong for putting Big Meech out there, knowing he doing bidding with 50. Rick Ross using Meech. Rick Ross using him, homie, knowing that there's a beef between me and this guy. So to do this video and then put it out there was a slap in the face to 50. And I done put everybody in position. Now, I'm with 50. While you were gone, Rick Ross didn't reach out to your son, try to put him in his position where he can make $5 million. Did nobody reach out to you? Rick Ross didn't give you no money off using your name, your likeness or whatever in that song. He didn't give you no kickbacks for that. So if he really fucking with you, he could have put the concert on without putting you in the mix. But they playing tit for tat. So 50 ain't.
Even if there was the slightest chance that 50 Cent would let the Rick Ross situation slide and keep the BMF series going, Big Meech and Lil Meech completely ruined that by running straight to Floyd Mayweather. And let's be honest, Floyd isn't stepping in to be some guardian angel for them. This is a calculated move and everybody can see it. Floyd knows exactly what's going on between 50 Cent and Big Meech, and instead of staying out of it, he's using the father and son to get under 50's skin. The real question is he actually helping them or just using them as pawns in his own game? See, Floyd Mayweather and 50 Cent used to be like brothers. Now their beef is one of the most petty and toxic feuds in hip-hop history, and it's clear Floyd is playing the long game. Instead of coming at 50 directly, he's aligning himself with the very people who betrayed him. But here's where it gets even messier. Word on the street is that Floyd isn't stopping at just hanging out with Big Meech and Lil Meech. He's allegedly trying to get Charleston White thrown back in jail. Now, Charleston White has been very vocal about this whole situation. He's been doing interviews left and right, dropping bombshells about Big Meech's alleged snitching, Rick Ross's sneaky involvement, and why 50 Cent had every right to cut Lil Meech off. And apparently, Floyd didn't like that one bit. Rumors are swirling that Floyd is pulling strings behind the scenes to make sure Charleston pays for speaking out. If this is true, this isn't just about ego anymore. This is full-on chess moves, and Floyd is trying to wipe his enemies off the board completely. But here's the thing, Charleston White isn't the type to back down. If anything, he's doubling down on everything he said, making it clear that he's not scared of Floyd, Big Meech, or anybody else involved in this mess. And at this point, it's looking like Big Meech and Lil Meech have fully committed to burning bridges with 50, and they're rolling the dice on Floyd being their savior. But is Floyd really going to help them? Or is this just another way for him to throw shots at 50 Cent while getting Meech caught up in even more drama? One thing's for sure, this situation is only getting worse. 50 Cent isn't the type to let things go. Floyd is out here making power moves, and Big Meech might have just backed himself into a corner with no way out. And if Charleston White is right about Floyd pulling legal strings behind the scenes, then this whole situation just went from industry beef to something way more dangerous. So now the question is, did Big Meech completely fumble his comeback by siding with the wrong people? Is Floyd actually trying to help, or is this all about revenge? And most importantly, does 50 Cent have something even bigger planned to get the last laugh? Because if there's one thing we all know about 50, it's that he never lets a betrayal slide. Stay locked in, because this story is far from over. And if you want the latest updates on this messy situation, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. See you on the next one, my stars and hushers.